So I was asked about shading generally, and I thought, all right, I'll do something about it, but I'll do it in a very sort of basic, quick way at the moment, because I've got a lot on at the moment and find it tricky to make video. So I'm getting stuck in now. I want you to look at these three shapes to begin with. This is going to be very, very basic. I've done a basic one of these before, but I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it a bit more applied. So look at these three shapes to begin with. So where's your light source coming from? Well, I always keep my light source in the same place if I can, you know. And that is, I keep it sort of coming down from the right hand side. So it comes in from there. So if you look at the three planes of this cube, where does the light hit the most? What's the brightest side? It's the top, right? So I'll leave the top as it is right now. The next brightest, well, be this plane, because it's nearest the light, but not getting hit directly by the light. So this side needs to have some kind of shade on it. I'll just literally just drop in a bit of shade there, the tiniest bit of shade there. This plane here is the furthest away. So this one is going to be the darkest. Now, you're thinking, yeah, this is all pretty obvious. And shading a cube, you know, is not difficult. Probably one of the easiest shapes you could possibly shade. There you go. There's some nasty, nasty crosshatch, messy shading for you, because I want to move on as quickly as possible there. That's the principle. Cylinders, it's a similar principle. Let's stick with a basic principle for now. Light comes in from there, hits this side, hits the top, hits this side. So my shadow probably doesn't start until about there. I'm keeping it simple. I'm not doing any texturizing or using different material right now. There you go. That's where your shadow lands there. That's how your cylinder is shaded. And if you're doing it in pencil, you grade it from dark, heavy to much lighter, through like that. That sort of pyramidal shape. Again, very, very easy one. Refer you to these planes here, which are essentially these, except slightly more angled. Same thing. Bit of light shade. Bit of heavy shade. There you go. This is all very simple, right? Really kind of like, come on, mate, I know this. Yes. But the point is that everything is made up of these shapes, these types of shapes. I didn't put the sphere on there because it's so painfully obvious, right? I could literally do it for you there. Where can you see? There. There you go, you've got a sphere. Light comes in from there. So you have it shaded round there, right? Same things apply. Your shadow goes around there. I'll add at this point, the materials you're working in change how you shade. Obviously with a pencil you can grade very easily, lights and touch, different forms of graphite, all that kind of stuff. If you use paint markers, then you have to use a different method. You can use hard line shading, or you can use you can sometimes blend with a paintbrush. Excuse me, sorry, I've still got my post-COVID cough. You can expect to be hearing that for months to come yet. What else? Alcohol markers. You can, of course, blend. So you can use multiple colours to blend, that kind of stuff. If you were to use reflected light, then you wouldn't take the shadow all the way up to the edge there. Then you'd pull it off from the edge and then blend it through. But anyway, the application of this is the interesting thing, right? So I've got a letter here, letter C. So how does this affect that? Well, if you look at this as a three-dimensional object, I've got to somehow light this three-dimensional object. And if I was to use the rules of this, can you see how this would apply to this? It's kind of simple, isn't it, really? Light coming in from the right-hand side. It would hit these planes before it hit this plane. This would be the darkest plane. And these planes, this one and this one, are sort of facing there. This one, underneath, this is tucked right away. This would be the darkest plane of all. Virtually no light is getting to that. And in here, this is very obscured as well. So these would be the darkest planes. This one, this would be going dark, and it would be graded into something a bit lighter. Now, compositionally, I'd look at that and go, I don't want that to be my lightest. I don't want it to be my darkest plane. I want that to be my lightest plane. So I'm going to have to light it differently, or I'm going to have to cheat the light. And by the way, a lot of artists cheat light and cheat shadows. It's dead easy to do. You're not really supposed to do it. You're not supposed to do it. I mean, who cares, right? Who's making the rules up? Just, you know, if it looks good, who cares, really, genuinely? We do what we do. I cheat shadows and light all the time. Anyway. There you go. Send light in that way. Now we're lighting this. So this can stay lightest. And then these will be in shadow. And generally, the same thing would apply. So if I was to put these shadows, so that would still be the darkest plane, because it's still the most tucked away from the light. That'd be pretty dark in there and all. Then these would be not as dark. Okay, I'm trying to do this as quickly as possible. Not as dark, and then this would be nice and dark again because it's tucked right away from the light. So you get that. Now already you can see that it begins to take on a more solid form with that kind of very simple shade on it. So all I've done there is I'm shading it like I'm shading these objects here. Work out the light source, work out where it's coming from, and then shade accordingly. Because we call it shading, but essentially what you're doing is you're lighting your object. You're just filling in where the shadows drop. That's what it is. Now, I put this fella in here because this is a character I use a lot. Obviously, if you watch my stuff or see my stuff, you know this character. And I'm faced with the same problems when I light him. I'm going to light him. So, I will refer you back to simple principles here. Now, you've got to think of these surfaces as planes. You can't treat them like they're flat, because they're not flat. They stick out. If you want them to look like they stick out and are three-dimensional, then you need to light them like they're a three-dimensional object. So, for instance, we take his eyebrow. I can't just shade it like this cylinder, because that is not going to work. It's not just going to be a straight cylinder like that. But how is it? What shape is it? That's what I've got to work out. Now, if I've done my my work as an artist already and found these shapes organically, which I have, of course, that's why I encourage you to sketch a lot, try stuff, fail, because you'll stumble across all your characters and your shapes organically. That's important, because if you find your shapes organically, you know what shape they are. So if I was to turn that like that for a second, then actually that is not unlike a cylinder. You see, it curls around like that, but it's not unlike a cylindrical shape. Can you see that? If I was to bevel that shape the way it is, it would be beveled a bit like this. The centre line would come up through it like that. Be like that. You getting that? You see that? So, there's our light source. It's coming in like that. It's hitting these planes first. Up to me to decide which one's really is going to hit absolutely first. It's probably going to hit this one first, right? This one. So this is my lightest one. This one next. So I'll colour like that. Now, I'm going to have that as my darkest one, because I'm going to say that's the one that's the furthest away from the light. That's what I'm going to say. And then this plane, like that. So it gives me some nice shadow. And bear in mind, you can grade that. It could be sort of darker down here and then coming out into light. You've got to play around with this stuff. Also, do not expect to sit down, shade a character first time off and get it right. You're going to learn by making a mess of this, because that's how everybody learns. That's not very clear. I should have done it better. Three-dimensional objects. So that bit in there, see this bit in here that I'm pointing to here? That would be the absolute darkest, right? Because that's a different plane. That's a little tucked away bit in there. That would be really dark in there, but it would probably fade through to something lighter, where the light would finally be able to get to it. I am slightly wishing here that I'd not done quite such a messy sketch. I do the same on this side. Going like that. But very different on this side, because the light is coming from this side, right? So it's hitting all these planes. All these planes on the right, they're all getting hit. That's dark in there. But none of that is getting hit. Sorry, all of that is getting hit, so none of that is in shade. It's not in shadow at all. Forget the nose. Forget that. Well, shall we forget the nose? No, let's not forget the nose. So, see what I'm doing there? I'm divvying the nose up. So there's a top plane and these little side planes. Same things apply. The top would be light. You can't see it very well, sorry, because I'm using too many lines. I've got a very bad habit of using too many lines when I just like sketching that way. So that would be dark. There, that would be darkest. That plane. That would be slightly lighter, and the top would be light, completely light. I'm not bothering with any detail really, I'm literally just showing you the shade. Okay, let's get to these big old chops out the front there. There you go, these big old chops. So these, if we were to take these as objects, they're spheres. They're not quite shaped like spheres, but you can see them, right? They're basically spheres. So they're shaded like that. I would step it off the side because I give it a bit of room for reflected light. I don't need to. I could take it up right to the edge if I like. Now, depending on how much lighting I want to put in there, depends on how much it's shaded. There you go. Bit of shade in there. A little bit of shade around there. Why am I putting a bit of shade around there? Because the light is hitting it on the right hand side. So there's no shade there. There's a tiny bit of shade down there because that is starting to curve away. As a three-dimensional object, it's starting to curve away from the light. This side is curved away from the light. You see that? So there's a tiny bit of shade in there. These is cheekbones. Same principle as these. They're spheres. Can you see that? If I was to put them in a full outline like that, they're spheres. So it's the same thing. Same things apply. Same shading on them. Tiny bit up there. Obviously the light is hitting it on the right hand side, so nothing there. That's tucked. See this bit? That's tucked right away from the light, so that has to be darker. Anything that's further away from the light, you can grade darker. This is easy, right? Simple. So finally, this bit over here. Now this is the back of his head. So again, I always leave a bit of room for secondary light. So I take the shadow off the side like that. And on the run up to this, I kind of think, well, his eyebrow's sticking right in front. If his eyebrow's sticking out in front like that, and the light is coming in from there, it's going to be quite dark, isn't it? But it's going to be dark that fades into something lighter, where the light starts to be able to get to it. I always put a hat on him or something. Stick a big old hat on him. There you go, something like that. Now that also creates problems for you as an artist, because you kind of go, well, he's got a big old brim now. And that brim is going to cast a shadow. It's going to cast a shadow over his face, and also it's not going to cast a uniform shadow because this bit sticks out more than the bit underneath. So I'll give you a for instance. That's the darkest bit in there. It's tucked right away from the light. No light's getting there. So I'll give you an example of so this. If I brought that shadow over like that. That plane is further away, so the edge of that shadow is like more like down there. So it's up there, it's down there. This is solely your discretion, of course. You can have the shadow as deep as you like, because you're placing the light source. It's up to you where you put it. You could have that shadow right over his face if you wanted to. Have it right down over his face, and that would change the values, obviously. Now when you're using colour, because I'm using a pencil at the moment, obviously, when you're using colour, we use colour values to denote this. So I'd use, if I was doing this in pink or whatever, I'd do a really dark pink there, like a mauve or a magenta or something like that, and then I'd use a lighter pink for that, and then a lighter pink for that, and so on and so forth. Really light pink there, fading down into a dark. It's all done with colour value. But you've probably seen me colour plenty. I've got loads of videos where I colour. Look at his hat. Hat's dead easy. Remember this? This look familiar? It's basically a cube, isn't it? Dead easy. All the light is hitting here. Now, you know, you can put a bit of, I don't often now, to be honest, put a bit of shadow in with creases in his hat and that kind of stuff. I don't often do it. You can do. But largely all you need to know is this is the plane that is tucked well away from my light source. Light is all hitting here, right? This is all in shadow. And there I've got the basis of that. And that's a very, very simple sort of shadowing exercise, shading exercise, essentially. All these things are very simple shading. And you can see how quick I've done it as well. It's really dashed off. Obviously, if I was to do it as an actual piece of art, I'd take a lot more time on this sort of stuff. But all the principles remain the same. Always think about these. Everything in life is made of these shapes. Everything, all of it. Variations of. So, if you can shade these, you can shade that, you can shade anything. That's simple shading. Colour, like I say, colour values are different. I'll probably have to show you something different for that. I've probably already got videos doing that. But I think I'm going to leave that at that for you. And you can give me some feedback on this video, say if it was useful. I know other people do very, very like high production videos. I was going to just say a quick word about this. Do very high production videos, high production value videos, and with graphics and all that sort of stuff. To be honest, I never thought I'd be doing tutorials on this channel. This channel was really just about me doing time lapses and book flip throughs. So my videos aren't particularly very sophisticated. I do hope they help if you look, if you watch and you like to do this sort of stuff. But I never expected to be kind of teaching anybody to do anything. So you'll have to let me know, you know, if you're getting, I know a lot of you do let me know and say that you're getting stuff from it, which is great. So, and while you are, then I'll keep doing it. But yeah, I hadn't really ever expected this channel to be anything other than just showing me drawing, you know, at 120 miles per hour. So, and the odd graffiti book. So, so I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm toying with the idea at the moment of trying to do something a bit more high production or something, but I'm not particularly gifted in that area. I don't really know much about it. So don't expect anything too soon. You know, I don't even do like proper thumbnails or anything really on my videos. But anyway, you know, while you guys get something from it, I'll keep doing it. And yeah, if there's anything you particularly want to see, anything you're confused about, any sort of advice you need or anything like that, then do let me know. Because this was requested the other day. Somebody actually requested this and said, can you do something about shading? And somebody said it to me before, and I thought, yeah, okay, I will. I'll do a bit on this. So there you go, guys. There's a very quick video on shading. I hope that helps. And hit me back, let me know. And yeah, tell me what you're what you're up to. Tell me what you're struggling with. Tell me if you need anything about materials, because obviously I've done all this in pencil today. If you need to know about pens, if you need to know about inks, working with paints, whatever you want to know, just let me know in the comments.